Hi guys, it's our home learning final day, and it's extend and deepen for our reading. So let's give this a good go and finish strong. As we know, we've got our plausible inference, so we're looking for inference and we're using evidence. New text, new poem, even smaller. It's 2 verses, but it does not mean there's less work and less thought to be had. So this is called Windy Nights by Robert Louis Stevenson. So I'll read this with you, as it's quite short. Whenever the moon and stars are set, whenever the wind is high, all night long in the dark and wet, a man goes riding by. Late in the night, when the fires are out, why does he gallop and gallop about? Whenever the trees are crying aloud, and ships are tossed at sea, by on the highway low and loud, by on the gallop goes he. By at the gallop he goes, and then by he comes back at the gallop again. Now I know what you're thinking. What on earth is that last bit about? We might have to have a look at that in a minute with our questions. So, have a look at that. You might want to have a couple of reads through this one. But let's have a look at these questions. You can type here. I'm just going to talk through because our answers can be quite different for inference. So what sort of night does this mysterious man appear? Well, according to this, we've got quite a lot of information here. We've got whenever the moon and stars are set, so that's at night. So the wind is high, dark and wet, ships are tossed at sea. Lots of clues here to tell us that the mystery man appears on a stormy night. So I think he appears on a stormy night because it says that ships are tossed at sea and it's dark and wet. Or it says it's very windy and dark and wet. It's up to you which evidence you choose there. Number 2 links very closely. Find 2 lines which tell you the weather is bad. Well, I've found 3 for you. The wind is high, it's dark and wet, the ships are tossed at sea. Now, dark and wet, that doesn't necessarily mean the weather's bad. Ships are tossed at sea, that is awful weather. So any of those, I think, will work. But weather is bad. You know, you can have the wind is high winds, that's bad weather, I suppose. Dark and wet, that can be bad. Ships are tossed at sea, but also the line above. Whenever the trees are crying aloud. Now that's great personification, but what on earth does it mean? Crying aloud. How can trees cry aloud? Well, if it's very windy, we know how much noise the trees can make when it's windy. Those leaves and the branches all rustling together. The volume of it is really loud. So actually, I think the best answers for number 2 are these 2 lines here. They clearly point out that the weather is bad. Number 3. What can you infer about the man in the last 3 lines of the poem? Now, even if you do not understand why it starts with that, at the gallop he goes, at the gallop he goes, and then he gallops again. Well, even from just that, I can infer that the man never stops. The man's always riding. So he's constantly riding his horse and never stops. That's all I can infer from that. And I might put because it repeats that he keeps galloping and he goes and he goes. There you go. And the final question. Who do you think the character might be and why? Now this is probably my favourite question because we've got no clues about who this person is at all other than it's a man and he's on a horse because he's galloping. I want you to give me an idea. What impression do you get from this character? Who could he be? And why do you think that? Is he a traveller? Is he a messenger? Is he running from the law? Is he trying to find shelter? Which wouldn't make sense if he's galloping. If he's trying to find shelter, he'd stop galloping, wouldn't he? So the big clues about who this man is got to be in this last bit as to why he keeps galloping and why there's a storm. So I'm not going to answer that one. I'm really curious to know why, what impression you have and why you have it. Okay, I really look forward to reading these answers, guys. And thank you. We'll stop there.